Let's look at content editor inspector. Normally there's nothing there, but when you select an object, you get all the same attributes available here than what you have in the SO Explorer. The difference is that in the SO Explorer, if you change things, it changes those features for the source object. Here it changes those for the specific cloned object. So changing, for example, the color here for this meeple won't affect any other meeple. So even if I have other blue clones created of this, I can individually change these colors. Now it's good to remember that if you ever intend to update these objects, it's possible that then you lose all these individual changes. Personally, I try to avoid editing these objects like this, only renaming them sometimes just to make sure that I know which one is which. But all the other ones I tend to just edit at the source object level and then just update the changes. Now, click action, however, is something that is the what I create for individual clones. And this is the actions that will happen if players click or tap this object. So you can add whatever you want. This is how you create buttons, for example, for content steps. Let's say that you ask how many players do we have. So we could say set variable player count. There we go. To, for example, if this button is clicked, set it to 2. And now if there's nothing else that we need to do on that, I could also then put here that go to next. So it automatically goes to the next block. So players put that input in, and then we go forwards. And then I could do the same for the blue one here, but instead put the set variable player count to 3, and then go to next. So this is how I've created a few buttons here. You can also do logical actions, not just when players click this, but build them into the object's animation. And I just created an animation segment for the blue meeple here, and I can add trigger points with this button. So here I have a trigger point. Let's put it, for example, there. And by right-clicking, I can edit trigger, and I can add actions to this. So, for example, let me let's do random number. That might be fun. So this could be, let's randomize somebody's turn, for example, between 1 and 5. Okay. So we could randomize. So let also do, now this is a looping object. Wasn't it this one? Yeah, why isn't it looping? Oh, stupid of me. I did not have, it was looping. There was just no animation to show it. So right now, that trigger point is doing a new random number every time that happens. We could, on the other hand, edit trigger and let's say we just increment turn by 1 every time it goes up. So right now, this calculates how many times that meeple goes up during this animation. So you can run these actions through in these animations as well. And you just you cannot add a trigger point. It needs to be a trigger point for a specific object. So you need to select an object first, and then you can add trigger points. And these are very useful when you're doing timers and sort of, for example, if you want something to happen every second, for example, decrease the value of the timer, you would do that with a looping object for 1 second, and then just decrease the value by 1 once a second. So that's how you do a timer. So logical actions you can do through the inspector, through the logic editor, and this is a click action, which is done when players tap it, or you can add trigger points that can have their own actions, and you can add these as many as you want, and they can even happen at the same time apparently, so make sure that you know, stay on the ball with these.